welcome. Thanks for being here. My name is Rippon-Butler. I'm the Land Campaign Director at the National Young Farmers Coalition. And the National Young Farmers Coalition is a national grassroots network working to shift power and change policy to better resource the next generation of working farmers. I'm joined in DC this week by over 100 of our coalition's land fellows, farmers, staff, and supporters from around the country, and a few of whom you'll hear from this morning. We're here in DC this week to ensure that the 2023 Farm Bill serves the future of farming. This week is the largest young farmer fly-in that we've ever had, and farmers have taken their time away from their farms, businesses, and communities to be here to share their stories with their members of Congress and to ensure that this Farm Bill is one that will address the crucial issues standing in the way of them being able to build careers, successful futures, to resource their communities, and to address issues of land access, climate change, water access, and USDA access and accountability. In particular, we're calling on Congress to make a historic investment in the 2023 Farm Bill to facilitate equitable access to 1 million acres of land for young farmers and farmers of color. We're asking for this investment to happen in community-led projects that are creating secure, affordable, and equitable land access. And particularly, we want the Farm Bill to authorize and fund the Increasing Land, Capital, and Market Access Program. This is a really critical time to make this investment. The average age of farmers is nearly 60 years old, and young and BIPOC farmers across the country name access to affordable land as their top challenge. This is the result of years of inequitable policymaking and community disinvestment that has kept young farmers and farmers of color from across the country from accessing land, power, and wealth. The 2023 Farm Bill is a powerful opportunity to right these wrongs and invest in the people, businesses, organizations, and institutions that work to keep our communities thriving. We must create policy solutions to support this new generation of farmers if we are going to achieve food sovereignty, healthy communities, and protect our natural resources into the future. This Farm Bill is our best opportunity, and it is critical that we do so now and take action to make this historic investment. We invite you to join our land campaign by texting LAND to 40649 and learn more about our work and our fellows at youngfarmers.org/land. Thank you all for being here. I will turn it over to Vanessa, our policy campaigns co-director, and our farmers you'll hear from after that. And thank you again.
Thank you, Holly, and to the entire National Young Farmers Coalition team for making this week possible, and to our funders and supporters. We have not been able to be here today without you. And as Holly was saying, we must take a holistic approach not only to support the next generation of farmers and land stewards, but every policy solution that is included in the 2023 Farm Bill. Last year, we surveyed over 10,000 young farmers and beginning farmers across the country. And access to land was the top challenge they faced, and every steeper for farmers of color. In response to this challenge, we launched the 1 Million Acres campaign for the future. We support Rippon-Butler and a broad coalition of supporters to equitable transition 1 million acres of farmland to the next generation through a historic investment in the 2023 Farm Bill. But that is not enough. In this Farm Bill, we ask our members of Congress to think with a next generation, with a young farmer's lens, and every policy on every proposal. We should have learned many lessons during the COVID pandemic and through the previous 100 years of farm policy, how to strengthen our farm and food system for the next generation. We call for climate action and improved conservation efforts to build drought resilience and healthy watershed and to support the stewardship of those lands. This Farm Bill must also invest in the well-being and reauthorization of continued funding for the Farm and Ranch Stress Assistance Network. We must also establish a new office and coordination position with the Farm Production and Conservation Mission area inside USDA to focus on equitable land and centering around the needs of small, beginning, urban, and BIPOC farmers. We cannot stop there. We can also authorize and fund programs that provide culturally appropriate conservation technical assistance and credited loan access assistance. We must continue to invest in incentives for farm transition and preventing land loss in communities of color, specifically continue funding the Heirs Property Relending Program and the Farming Opportunities Training and Outreach Grant Program that allows for training opportunities for many young and beginning farmers across the country. We must improve access to credit to help farmers compete in the real estate market, and specifically help ensure farmers can access a pre-approval mechanism for Farm Service Agency ownership loans. Lastly, and the most important one, that we will not get it done in one farm bill, but it will take many farm bills and a generational transformational. We must ensure that accessibility and accountability of USDA programs are centering young farmers and farmers of color. For this, we ask, again, every member of Congress to put forward a young farmer's lens, a racial equity lens, in every proposal that we put forward in the 2023 Farm Bill. And to make this more obvious, I want to now invite our farmer speakers to share their testimonies, because only hearing from our farmers themselves how our farmers are going to be sharing their stories with members of Congress, we can hope to change their minds and change the policies to make a bright future for U.S. farming. I invite our first farming forward.
Hey, good morning, everybody. My name's Sarah Bell. I live in Adamsville, Alabama. I farm in downtown Birmingham, Alabama at a teaching farm. And I also farm a rice plot in Lowndes County in the Black Belt. I am a land fellow because I work with so many young kids and young adults that we're teaching these farming skills to, and I want to make sure that they have a prosperous career in front of them, that they can see their community thriving as farmers, that they can see a future for themselves as a farmer. So I'm really doing this like for my community and for the young people that I interact with every day. I'm also doing this because I want to own my own farm one day, and I want to own it collectively with my farming friends and community members. I want to be a part of a farming cooperative. These are things that I want to see happen in my lifetime. And I think being a land fellow and advocating for land access is a huge part of that. So another reason I see land access as so crucial for young farmers is because something that farming taught me is that farming is a preservation of culture. So being from the South, being Chinese, farming is how I preserve my culture, how I preserve food and foodways, a lifestyle. So without land access and like a future for young farmers, where does that culture go? And that's why I feel it's so important right now to advocate for all of the policies that Vanessa mentioned. Thank you so much.
My name is Mariel Gardner. I'm a land access fellow with the National Young Farmers Coalition. I farm a formerly vacant lot in the Parkland neighborhood, which is the boyhood home of Muhammad Ali in the west end of Louisville, Kentucky. After the erasure of several black neighborhoods in Louisville and seeing gentrification strangle Chicago, Nashville, and Detroit, I knew if I didn't buy the land around me, someone unconcerned with my right to remain, would cause my displacement. 2023 will be our fourth growing season, sharing food with our neighbors free of charge, as we also fight the food apartheid that exists in our city. Not only are we feeling the effects of manufactured homelessness, we're being denied food as well. Because the fifth element of hip-hop culture is knowledge and understanding, we rely on the agricultural knowledge of our ancestors to guide us toward land and food sovereignty. Thus the name of our farm, Fifth Element Farms. Tracing my ancestry back through 7 generations in Kentucky, I found my 4 times great-grandparents to be landowners in Lafayette, Kentucky, shortly after they were emancipated. Through Reconstruction and into Jim Crow, I found my 2nd great-grandparents were also landowners in St. Elmo, Kentucky. Their barn was burned after a monument to Confederate President Jefferson Davis opened 12 miles up the road in neighboring Fairview in 1924. None of this land is owned by my family today because racial violence was allowed to terrorize and intimidate my people. Additionally, policy created by the Kentucky General Assembly and Congress have encouraged our expulsion, causing black farmers in the United States to lose roughly $326 billion worth of acreage during the 20th century. I became a Land Access Fellow to demand reparation for the past and the present in order to preserve our existence in the future. American Farmland Trust estimates that by 2040, Kentucky will lose 3,200 farms. That's $183 million in farm output and 7,600 jobs. This makes the Farm Bill of 2023 a critical time for action. I've been black and poor my entire life, and any disaster, disease, or deficiency impacting this country is felt most by us, the socially disadvantaged and economically distressed. As my friend Shameka says, our voices have to be at the table or we'll be on the table. BIPOC farmers will become extinct if Congress doesn't take bolder steps toward repairing the continuance of its original sins. We'll be crushed by the wave of development encroaching on rural and urban communities. Not to mention that black median wealth is expected to be 0 in 2053 according to a Rice University study. That's half of us with less than nothing. There's no room for error or delay because there is no safety net for us. Congress must understand that we are not here for photo ops. We are here to express our concerns, and we expect those concerns to be addressed through legislation so that we don't cause our 4 times great-grandchildren to once again carry the burden of a broken American promise.
Greetings, everyone. My name is Brielle Wright, and I am part of this amazing organization. I am a farmer, well, kind of a fake farmer, from Raleigh, North Carolina. My family is from Bladen County, North Carolina, and our business is called the Farmer's Bag. We started off farming because I come from a long history of farmers. However, once I had to go back to work after the pandemic, that kind of went downhill, right? So I was like, okay, God, what am I supposed to do? And I felt I was led to help people farm. So I farm farmers. I work with farmers who are older, and I work with the youth, and I work with aspiring farmers. We help them build their business plans. We help them market. We help their children and their children's children get excited about agriculture. We make sure that they understand what they can do with the land. We help them understand where the resources are for them. And the goal is, at the end of the day, for me to be able to work the land that my family owns. I've been blessed to have land passed down from generations. And right now, nothing is happening to it. And I don't want that to continue to be, because I know there's education and there's information that the next generation needs that I can provide at home. The reason why this farm bill is so important and why access to land is important is because when you have land, you have power. When you have land, you can control the narrative. Without land, we can't feed each other. There's so much farmland, especially in North Carolina. I'm sorry, I don't have statistics. But there's a lot of land in North Carolina that is being used for commercial use, for people to build homes, which is a great thing. We need places to live. But if we continue to have these homes, where will we eat? Where will our food come from? And so if we don't start teaching the next generation about where the food comes from and teaching them how to get their hands in the soil, if we don't start teaching them or teaching the current farmers how to preserve their land, how to create land trust, how to create, if they could use a conservancy, you could even, just what to do with the land instead of it laying dormant or not realizing the value of their property and selling it for pennies on the dollar, only for a building to go up versus a farm full of fields of food and vegetables that people need, healthy food that people need. So I'm here today to fight for the food of our next generation. I'm here today to fight for the education of the farmer so that they can keep moving forward and do what it is that they need to do with feeding their generation, the next generation, feeding their families, and leaving a legacy of funds for their families. So thank you guys for the opportunity.
I just want to say thank you everyone for joining us today. We will continue doing more events during this week. We are also part of the Rally for Resilience. And we look forward, thank you for supporting us and joining us tomorrow as we will have 140 member congressional meetings in the Hill. So thank you everyone for getting us started on this event.